And with the Democrats now in charge of the House and governor's office, Colorado lawmakers are going to have to find a way to fix our roads. Both ballot propositions to fund our state's transportation needs failed last night. Denver 7's Jennifer Kovaleski goes 360 on the future of transportation funding here in Colorado.
Colorado voters clearly sent a message last night. So what's next for fixing our roads? Amy Ford with CDOT says the state doesn't have the funding it needs for all of our infrastructure projects. Sam Mamet with the Colorado Municipal League says we could see transportation funding come from an unlikely source in the future. And lastly, two Colorado voters, one who voted in favor of Prop 110, another who voted them both down. So let's start with our voters.
Everybody that I know was on board with that for sure.
Alexi Neal is still surprised. None of the transportation measures passed. She voted yes on Prop 110, the tax increase solution.
I would like our roads to be better, and I think we have a group responsibility to work on that.
She believes it's time we all pay our part to fix the state's growing traffic woes. And for those who weren't.
Everybody complains that traffic is getting worse, and it's like, well, you don't get to complain if you didn't vote for that.
Already paid enough in taxes and just don't want another tax increase.
Darlene Mendoza is our Colorado voter who wasn't willing to pay up. Her reason is simple.
I voted no because I just believe there's other ways besides tax increases to fund transportation.
A sentiment clearly felt by the majority of Colorado voters, since both measures, 109 and 110, failed, and by large margins. Mendoza also thinks they were too complicated for the average voter to understand.
The way they were worded, they're just not very clear.
Both of our voters agree the state's infrastructure needs an overhaul. What they don't agree on are the solutions. Which brings us to Amy Ford with CDOT.
Well, obviously, we have a $1.7 billion budget, vast majority of which, frankly, is spent on maintaining the roads that we do have.
Bottom line, she says CDOT doesn't have the cash it needs to fund all of the projects our state needs.
We look very carefully at how we spread that peanut butter.
But with Democrats taking over the majority in both Colorado's House and Senate, there could be light at the end of the tunnel, says Sam Mamet with the Colorado Municipal League.
The election's over, so now we govern. And govern means seeking a consensus and working towards the middle.
With the Supreme Court ruling to let states decide whether to legalize online sports gambling, Mamet thinks we could see transportation funding come from that revenue in the future.
We're going to see our state legislature enter into the fray on that. And the question won't be so much as to whether or not to have sports betting, but where will the revenue from sports betting go?
In Mamet's view, last night's election is just the first chapter in a long book on fixing the state's ever-changing transportation needs.
This isn't going away yet.
Jennifer Kovaleski, Denver 7.